Hey guys, it's Barrett. Thanks for joining us on this week's episode of the Gimpy Camper. This week we are back in Tellico Plains, Tennessee, in some of the most beautiful country that you can imagine. This is one of my favorite areas to camp in, but the issue is for a lot of you can come out here, you're going to have to learn how to cut the cord because there's no power anywhere out here. It's all dry camping. That being said, if you got a generator, solar maybe not so much because it's there's a lot of trees here, but I'm telling you, this is a great adventure out here. And for a couple of days, even if you're in a tent, this is some of the most beautiful camping that you'll get to in Tennessee. I'm telling you, I love it down here. I will say, for those of you that don't want to cut the cord, the best area for you to go to explore around here is going to be Indian Boundary. You make reservations on Indian Boundary through recreation.gov, but apparently this year in 2021, they've changed things up a little bit, and they're only doing reservations for 60 days out, which from what I see online has caused quite a catastrophe for people trying to make the reservations. So this week we're going to turn things up a little bit. We're going to explore the entire North River Road area of camping, which the Tellico Ranger District just calls it North River. And I'm going to tell you everything that's out here and where it is along the route. Now, all the mile markers that I'm going to give you are from my truck, and the tires are not factory size, and so they may be off a little bit. Just for an example, River Road, you have to take to North River Road, and the map says that's 10 miles, and the directions say that's 10 miles, where my truck said it was 9.1 miles. I will say that if you're going to be bringing a camper down here, you're going to have to use extreme caution. I wouldn't bring anything too large. My 29-foot fifth wheel, which is 12 foot high, didn't seem to have very many issues. But if you contrast that with the Citico Creek area that we were in before, this is like a highway, okay? But I do want you to understand that there may be some low-hanging branches. There weren't too many along this path until about halfway on River Road, and then there were some small low-hanging branches. But nothing on the main road that I saw. I had a friend say that he saw one when he came down. Maybe I cleared them all out with the camper. Who knows? Y'all know my track record on that. Anyway, so I'm going to start by just going over everything. But I want you to know that on that road, number one, it's curvy. There's a lot of curves. Number two, there's a lot of rock cliffs on the side. Some of them kind of stick out over the road a little bit. Number three, a lot of these areas, there is a severe drop off down in the river right next to the road with no shoulder. So I want you to be aware of this before you decide to bring a camper back in here. I would recommend that you come scout the area out, explore the area, and be sure that you are comfortable pulling your rig in here. I'm not sure that I would go much more than 30 feet pulling something in here. And I'm not sure that I would go much more than 12 foot high. I'm not sure if 13. I think it would be okay, but I don't know if I would do it. So that's just my take on it. A lot of these spots back in here, we're going to go over the different areas. You could fit something 30 foot in. I'm not sure if you could go much more than that with a couple of exceptions. But we're going to go through all that here in a minute. And thank you for watching this week's video. If you hadn't hit that subscribe button, you need to go down there and hit it right now. All right, so I'm going to give you guys some quick directions on how to get here. You're going to start in Tellico Plains, in the small town of Tellico Plains. And you're going to get on the Cherahalla Skyway. And that Cherahalla Skyway, you're going to stay on there. And by the way, it dead ends right there into the Tellico Plains. So there's only one way to get on there. But you're going to get on the Cherahalla Skyway, and you're going to go for 4.9 miles. Now, at first, that's going to go through some pretty curvy areas that are wooded and that are right next to the river. It's a gorgeous area. Still, in this area, there's not a whole lot of shoulder or anything. And I was a little bit nervous the first couple of times I pulled the camper in there. Everything should go okay through here. But just watch those corners, watch your tires, make sure you're not getting off the road there because there's not very much shoulder, okay? So just go slow, take your time, and as long as you're comfortable with your rig, I don't think you'll have a problem. Now after the 4.9 miles on the Cherahalla Skyway, and like I say, this is going from my truck trip meter, so it might be a little bit off. But you're gonna pass, after you go through those wooded areas, you're gonna come out by the river again. You're gonna pass a few different look-offs, and then right past one of them is going to be River Road. There's gonna be a sign pointing to the right for Bald River Falls. That's the road you wanna take. It's called River Road, and that's National Forest Road 210. So you're gonna turn right there, and then you're gonna go down this road. Now, if you want any additional information on the area, the first road on the left is going to be the ranger station. But you do have to turn left there and go down the road a little bit, and I can't remember if a camper can turn around in there or not. So, like I say, I really suggest that you come scout the area out ahead of time if at all possible. Now, that ranger station's on Ranger Station Road, and that's 0.3 miles from Cherahalla onto River Road. The next thing that you're going to come to on River Road is the road looks like it kind of splits a little bit. And when in doubt, whenever you're on River Road, you always just follow the river, okay? Because it's River Road, it follows the river. Even when it splits into North River Road, you're actually following the river both ways. And so if you come to an area like this Turkey Creek Road, I suggest that you just keep going straight, and the river will be right beside you. Even though it veers off to the left and you think for a second, should I be going that way? The answer is no. But that Turkey Creek Road is in 3.7 miles from Cherahalla Skyway. And so when you get to that, just ignore it. I don't even know what's up there. I've went through and scouted most of these roads back here, but I still hadn't been up there yet. Then you're going to keep driving for quite some time. And in 5.8 miles or so, you're going to get to the bridge where Bald River Falls is. Now, when you get to the falls, it's important that you don't park on the bridge. There is a sign there. We had a guy stop on a motorcycle there, and the park ranger stopped. I think they was giving him a ticket. And he was just getting off his bike to take a quick picture. So don't park on the bridge. That's a beautiful waterfall. If you've never been there, you're gonna have to stop and check it out. There is a few parking places right past the bridge where you can get out and enjoy the area. Sorry about that, guys. I had to move locations because the Forest Service was here. I was at North River Campground, which we'll get to in a minute, just filming this video, and the Forest Service came. There's a vault toilet there with a bathroom, no plumbing, but they were there. They were pressure washing that out, and so they do keep it quite clean. But because of that and the noise, because it's a gas operated pressure washer, of course, I just moved locations. So we'll get to this one in just a minute. So the reason I'm telling you all this is just to let you know not to be in for any surprises when you're on your way back here, because it can be kind of back in the middle of the woods and you can get turned around. And if you've never been back here before, it's just to let you know some of the things that you're going to pass along the way so that you know that you're still on the right path. I am going to make a post about this on my blog. A lot of the information is going to be the same as the video, but I am going to tell you that I made a very simple map. Now it shows the road is straight, and make no mistake, the road's not straight, but it is going to have the different mile markers where the different things are that you pass. And I'm going to put that on there, and it's going to have a little bit more detail where you can look at it a little bit closer. So the link to that's going to be down in the description. And so check that out. The blog post is actually gimpycamper.com. So just go check it out. All right, so we passed Bald River Falls. The next thing that we're going to get to in 6.2 miles is something called Baby Falls Day Use Area. So there's a couple of picnic tables and stuff there. It's around the curve. You just keep going past that again. And then we're just going to keep going on our way down to North River. Then in about 7.4 miles, you're going to get to Walnut Grove Picnic Area on the right. It's just some picnic tables and stuff right next to the river. Still another day use area. You're on the right path, just keep going. The next thing you're going to get to is North River Road. So when you almost get to North River Road, you're going to pass this sign, and it basically says that you're getting ready to turn left to go to the North River area. I think it actually lists North River Campground there, and I'm not sure what else it says, but the split's right there. Now, it is right before a bridge. If you keep going straight down River Road, we're going to talk about that in a minute. But if you turn left, you're going to go to North River Road and go to the camping areas that we're describing in today's video. I will say the road quality declines here a little bit. There are some potholes at the beginning of the road. For the most part, the road's in good condition though, but there are going to be some potholes along there. So just be careful, go slow. After about 1.6 miles, you're going to get to Dispersed Campsite 1. Now, there's not a sign on there, but I've come to the conclusion that that's what it has to be based on everything else that I've saw here. And right past that is McNabb Group Camp, which is where we stayed. Now, the dispersed campsites through here, they are free. A lot of them are along the river. This one is across the road from the river. But I'm telling you, I love the free dispersed campsites. The problem with the dispersed campsites along this area is that they can be kind of hard to get to. They're really not that bad to get a camper to, but the main problem is you don't know if anybody's going to be in here or not. In these dispersed sites, this is one of them here. And so if you come down through here and somebody's in all of the dispersed sites, which in the summertime they're probably going to be, there's a 14-day maximum. But if somebody's in all these dispersed sites, if you go past site 6, it's the point of no return. There's nowhere to turn around. Hopefully you can turn around at site 6, but there's not going to be a guarantee there. But it does like have a road that goes back in. It's actually on both sides of the road, and it has a road that goes in across from the river where there's a couple of sites there. So you could probably turn around there. But if you go past that, the road narrows, it goes up the mountain, and you're going to be doing some stuff that's pretty shady until you come out in North Carolina. So I don't recommend it. Because of that is where McNabb Group Camp comes in. So McNabb Group Camp is the only spot on here that you can reserve. Now you can reserve that on recreation.gov. It is a group camp. It is rather expensive for what you get, but it's reservable. So you know you're going to have somewhere to park when you get there. It might not be quite as beautiful because it's not right on the river. There is a creek that goes right beside it though. Kids can play in the creek. It is private. It's another positive thing about McNabb Group Camp. There's a padlock on a gate, and the padlock does have a combination. About a week before you come, they'll send you the combination. You're going to want to write that down or put it somewhere where you can get it, take a screenshot of it where you can pull it up without internet service, because there is a zero internet service or phone service back here, okay? But McNabb Group Camp, for the privacy and for the space you get, it almost can't be beat. I mean, it's not per se meant for RV use, but they don't discourage it. But the problem is, I mean, there's no like actual sites there. You're just going to have to go around the little loop there. You're going to find where you want to park. And there are some low areas that are pretty muddy. Our case this weekend, one was kind of rooted out from, I think, some hogs that had been through there. But for the most part, McNabb Group Camp is nice. You and all your buddies can just go hang out together. I'd say you can fit 3 or 4 campers there fairly easily. There aren't exact parking places, like I've said, but especially if you're tent camping, if you're going to have some buddies that show up to tent camp, it's going to be great. Most recreation.gov sites have a limit of 2 vehicles. I'm going to tell you, at McNabb Group Camp, the limit is 60. But like I say, it's 2 or 3 acres. And it's a nice area. So if you want to know for sure that you're going to have somewhere to park when you get back here, that's going to be the spot for you. I will say with McNabb Group Camp, though, that the loop around it is gravel. And there are a couple of areas where there's some trees that can be pretty tight if you go all the way around the loop. So I suggest that when you go in, You're gonna stop at the road, you're gonna open the gate, you're gonna pull through. I would suggest to walk around the loop, decide for yourself where you want to park, and then just go for it. I will say that if you take the path to the right on the loop, the first curve there's a tree right close to the road. It's a pretty sharp curve. I did make it around that curve and tree with my fifth wheel, but like I say, I'm only 30 foot long, and it was a little hairy there for a few minutes. I had to keep a real close eye on things. If you go the path to the left, then you can go through most of the area without having any issues. I know my friend that usually comes up here says that he usually parks in the front part of the loop there and just kind of doesn't go around that path where the tree is and cuts over before then, parks in the front area somehow. But I chose to park in the very back of the area just for a little extra privacy, and it was up on a hill and it was closer to the creek. Now the creek there is kind of in the woods a little bit, and it's not nowhere near like the river or these other areas, but it's enough for kids to play in and have fun. Hey guys, I just wanted to say something real quick. I actually forgot about the whole North River campground, so I'm just going to go back and pop a little bit in there about that, because I think it's right about the time they started pressure washing the old doo-doo house over there, and I just forgot about it. So by the time I moved, I just kind of picked up somewhere else. But at 2.5 miles from the beginning of North River Road, you're going to get to the North River campground. This campground has quite a few spots. It is dry camping still. It's $8 a night and $4 if you have a discount pass. So it's really not a bad deal at all. And as long as you don't mind being around a few other people, then it's going to be a great place. I will say that the sites seem to be decently separated, and they're not right on top of each other. There is a few sites along the river there, and then there's a loop back in the back. The loop's a little bit tight, but I think I could get my 30-foot fifth wheel around there with no problem. I just want to throw that in real quick. Sorry about the mess up there. And we'll continue our regularly scheduled viewing. Then if we keep going down the road, you're going to pass a road on the right. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Not yet. We're talking about camping areas right now, okay? So then 3.4 miles from the river road, you're going to get to dispersed campsite number 2. There's no sitting by the water or anything over there because the water's on the other side of the road. But it's a nice little site with quite a bit of room. So don't count it out just yet. Then in 4.3 miles, you're going to get to dispersed campsite number 3. Now this is all dispersed campsite number 3. It is a side road that does form a circle all the way through here. I do want to warn you that if you go all the way through to pull out, you're not going to be able to turn left with a trailer. I pulled that way in here today, and there's a tree right there. I had to make a 4-point turn just with my truck and barely missed the tree in order to pull in here. And so there is quite a bit of space here. You probably could turn around down here and then pull back out the way that you need to go back towards town. But it's still a risk because you don't know who all's in here or what space they're in. So if you can, it'd really be best if you could have somebody come through ahead of you in a car and scout it out and tell you on the radio if you need to even come down in here or not. That being said, there is a lot of space down in here, and it is right along the river, and it's beautiful, and it's free. I love free. Then you're going to keep going down North River Road until 5.3 miles from River Road, when you're going to get to Donnelly Cabin parking. Now the parking there, Donnelly Cabin can be reserved also through recreation.gov, but it is a hike in. I'm not sure how far the hike is there, but there's no like camping spots there at the road. I think that it's a couple miles, but I could be mistaken on that. Then you're going to keep going down North River Road till you get to 5.3 miles, and you'll get to dispersed campsite number 4. These are a couple of sites right there, right on the water. They have plenty of room. It'd probably be my pick if I had my pick of any of them and there wasn't anybody in here. There's only like 1 or 2 tents in these areas right now, but it is in March, and you know, it's not the busy time of the year for the area. Then at 5.6 miles, you're going to get to dispersed campsite number 5. Still a nice area. I got some pictures of my truck just along the water's edge there at the campsite. It's a beautiful free camping area. And then at 6.1 miles, you're going to get to dispersed campsite number 6. Like I said, this is the point of no return. If you got a camper here, you're really going to have to figure out some way to turn it around, and you're probably going to be able to in the road there that goes with the campsites across the street, because there are sites on both sides of the street here at dispersed site number 6. But there's no guarantee there, and that just kind of makes me nervous. So I'm not sure if I would bring a camper in here. These are going to be definitely some areas that are better served with truck campers or camper vans, things like that, where, you know, you have a more condensed package. You're not as big of a rig and you can fit about anywhere, but it's not impossible. So that's what I'm wanting you to know, is that they are there. If you're brave enough, if you want to scout it, in beautiful areas right on the river. If you're weak like me, you go to McNabb group camp, you can reserve it, know you got a spot there. Okay guys, so now that I got you back in here to go camping, what I want you to know is that there are some places that can help you out while you're back here, but if you don't take the time and drive around, you're never going to know it. So I want you to know what's available for you back here before you come back, okay? Number one, I thought I was going to have to pay somewhere to dump my tanks, but they have a dump station here. It's at they call it the checking station. And so I told you after you pass McNabb group camp, it's actually about 2.7 miles from the river road. There is a connecting road there that goes back over to River Road. And if you take that road, you will come out at the checking station. Do not take a camper through that road. It's very, very bad idea. Very bad idea. Don't do it. I just want you to know that you're over here and you needed some water, because they do have some water over there, need some water, or need to know there's a bathroom over there, you can take that road. Otherwise, go back the other way, go back to River Road, and turn left. After you turn left, you're going to go 2 miles, and then you'll be at the checking station, okay? Because it's just a big circle, that's all it is. So if you go that way, it's going to be much easier with a camper. Not as many tight turns, not as many mountains to go up and down. So that's the way you need to go. Now I do want you to know that if you go on past that, there is a hatchery. There's a dock there for handicapped people to fish off of, which is a very nice idea. And there's other campgrounds and stuff on through there, but we're going to hit that in more detail at another time. But I want you to know, if you keep going that way for about 3 miles from the North River Road split, you'll get to an area called Green Cove. It starts out as a few cabins, and then it turns into some campers with some permanent roofs over them, porches, that kind of stuff. But on the right, there's a Green Cove. It's like a bait shop and a store. They're going to have a lot of basic supplies and food. And so that's a good area to know about if you're over here and you just need to pick up something real quick and you don't want to take an hour and a half to drive back to town and back. Okay. So there's also a payphone there, I noticed, and that's going to be the closest place where you can go and make a call, because there is no cell service up here. I already told you that. No cell service. All right, guys. So that's this week's video on Tellico, on the North River area. Great camping. I like it a lot. Come check it out.
Do not forget to hit that subscribe button.